Well, welcome everybody to
Woohoo!
Hoops HD. This is a little bit of a special podcast. It's not really about any current events or anything.
No.
So even though we're recording this in early February of 2024, our hopes is that this might be a show that lasts a little while, maybe a few years even.
Yeah.
Kind of a introduction to our great Hoops HD team sheets that have gone up on the website here up above us.
Yeah, a
I'm
new
Chad Sherwood, by
feature.
the way. That's David Griggs over there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
a new feature, Chad. We're really excited about this. And one of the things you and I worked together to put all 362 of these team sheets up on the site.
Yes, I believe, if we break down the work, it was 362 for me and zero for you. But,
Well, I'm a team player. I just focused on what the team got done. I don't look at allocating who did what.
but what we want to do is kind of go through these team sheets and really, if you are an expert bracketologist that's been doing this for years and has your own website, where you're probably not going to learn anything new in this show, honestly. But if
No,
you're
you won't.
like most people, you want to actually maybe start doing a little of your own bracketology, that's what we're here for today. Kind of show you how you can use these team sheets to do bracketology and maybe
Hmm.
make your own fields and use these sheets that we have up there to make your decisions on who you think is in and how you want to seed the teams.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's just a good way to measure teams. It's a snapshot of basically a team's season so far.
I mean,
They're updated every morning. So like today's games will be reflected tomorrow, and the
better than that, Griggs. Probably for the rest of this season at least. And the intent now is that there's probably be a couple updates during the day for every single day. A
yeah.
few behind the scene uh, tweaks that I've done lets me update things a little bit quicker here. So, probably 3 or 4 times an evening, and there will well, let's go ahead and pull the website out. Officially. Let's show it
Yeah.
on the screen here. This is our Hoops HD website. You go right here, dead center on the top row, it says Hoops HD Team Sheets. You click it, nice and easy, and it'll tell
Hmm.
you right up top here when it was last updated. So right now it has, as we record this, it was last updated this morning. It'll probably be updated today alone, probably 1 or 2 more times this evening, and every day a few times during the day. Not as every game goes final, but as games go final, you'll see lots of updates.
Yeah.
And I just want to throw this out there. Also, if you're a fan of a team and you don't really want to do bracketology, but you are a fan of a specific team and you want to just get a snapshot of how your team looks, it's a great site. Also, you can take a look at your team's remaining schedule, what they've done against other teams, and uh, hopefully in the future here, we have plans. May not come in this season, maybe next season. We have some extra information on that our friend Joby Forts and I are working on how to on what games you should be watching in terms of
Right.
rooting for your team and the like. But we'll get to that when that comes in.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's another big project that you and Joby
so,
are
so,
carrying the ball with. It's ambitious. I love it though.
there is a lot more coming here than what we have already, is what we're saying. But what we do is, if you get here, you see all the teams are arranged by conference in alphabetical order within the conference. And Griggs, why don't you pick a team that we could do for an example here? Let's
Okay. Well, how
what
about? Well, okay, you were gonna pick it. I was gonna
uh,
say like I hate their. You're not gonna bust the music out on me, are you?
oh well, should we go Atlantic 10 here?
Yeah. Oh God. Oh. Okay. Oh. But I should have
I
never.
really wasn't going to do that, but let's go to Dayton. So you click on Dayton. You want to take a look at the Dayton
And
Flyers.
look at all of that information. That
And,
is
and
just
now, first of all,
beautiful.
it takes a moment to load. What I'm going to do, though, a little teaser here. At the end of the show, for any of you that are annoyed, it does take a few seconds to load each team. As you switch between teams, it takes a few seconds to load. If you wanted things to load quicker, I'm going to show you a trick at the end of the show to make things load a lot quicker. But you got to wait till the show is over, or
Okay.
fast forward to the end if you really.
Yeah.
but, uh, um, but this is what happens when you load up Dayton. You see immediately their team sheet. This is really identical to what we've been using on our podcast for years
Right.
now.
And there is a
Uh,
lot of information here.
we're going to go through, start in the top left corner, go to the bottom right, go through all of it, Riggs, just so you
Yeah.
understand. The top left corner, hoopshd.com. Okay, that was
Hmm.
unnecessary.
Yeah, and again, that is on every selection committee team sheet. If it's not on the actual selection committee's team sheets, then it's not a valid team sheet, and they can't use it. They have to
And
throw
I'll
it
tell you
out.
what, the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee does have a version of a team sheet for everybody. All the major teams, what they call the nitty gritty, the top
Yeah.
teams. They don't even have it for every single team. There are other websites out there with these team sheets. When we created these team sheets for our workbook and now on our website, part of it was I didn't really like the format of a lot of other team
Yeah.
sheets. I didn't like the format of the official NCAA release at all. I think you need an advanced degree to figure out what's going on it. There's color coding everywhere that makes almost no sense. And there's a lot of information on other websites even that was missing on team sheets I thought would be really neat to have. So,
Right.
and in
Yeah.
fact, if anyone watching this thinks that there's some information should be on this team sheet that's not there, send me a message on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, either at HoopsHD or at C Sherwood underscore 1973. I'll see if we can't get it on here in the future. We can do it.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of flexibility to add more stuff to these sheets here in the future.
Hmm.
Uh, after that, we get the name of the team, and there's a number there before the team and date, number 18 slash number 17.
And
What's that mean?
those are the human polls. So that's the AP and coaches poll ranking. Not every team has that. In fact, I think only 25 will have that. But
Well, let me throw up here. I found another one over here, St. Mary's. I also preloaded them, and you'll see this on a few teams. They're rated as number 26, but there's no such team as number 26 in the top 25 polls. Why would I say 26 on St. Mary's?
I guess that's, well,
Uh,
they only rank if you don't finish in the top 25, you're considered unranked. But there's about 30 to 40 teams that receive votes. They came in 26th.
Yeah, and so we do track that. So if you are receiving votes, we do track as if the polls went all the way out till the end of all teams getting votes. So you may see teams with numbers worse than 25th in the nation. Well, you'll even see that here on these team sheets. We just like to, even track that a little bit.
Hmm.
You then see what conference they're in, Atlantic 10. That makes sense. And when
Yeah.
they last made an NCAA tournament appearance, 2017 for Dayton, last time they were in. I didn't
Wow,
realize
that's
it'd been
kind
that
of
long.
hard to believe. There is a little bit of an asterisk there. There was no NCAA tournament in 2020, and they would have absolutely made it and probably gotten a one seed that year.
Yeah.
So, but
Jump back over to the St.
yeah.
Mary's profile here. A team that was in last year, we'll tell you when they last missed the tournament. They last missed in 2021. That was the last time St. Mary's missed the field.
Hmm.
Uh, Then we go through on this next section here, all kinds of metrics up top, which is probably the main focus of what I want to focus in on this by doing this show was because a lot of this stuff may be Greek to some people, but the
Yeah.
top left corner I think is fairly self-explanatory. It's the record.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there's an overall record, and that is basically what it says. And then D1 is Division One. And again, if you're new to this, not all of the games that all of these teams play are against Division One opponents. You're allowed up to four, which is way too many non-D1 opponents. And on most of the team sheets, the only games they're looking at are D1 games. So on some of them, you'll notice that there is no overall record. It's just the D1 record. We kind of like to have them both. In the case of Dayton, they didn't play any non-D1 opponents, so the record
let's
is
jump
the
over to our
same.
other example here, St. Mary's. You see they did have one
Yeah,
D1 opponent. So you have 18 and 6, but only 17 and 6. So I'll
yeah,
jump between these two as we go forward here, in fact. Back to Dayton. Conference record.
yeah.
Then versus tier one versus and two and versus tier one through three. Uh,
Hmm.
that's a new feature we added to our sheets just for this year, but uh, there are the four tiers or the four quads, how they ranked your opponents. And then we'll get to those, when we get to the body of the work here. But you could look at the down at the wins and losses here and say, okay, count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins
Yeah.
versus three. We kind of shortcut it here for you. Real quick glance, you could see that Dayton is 7 and 3 versus the top two quadrants, 12 and 3 versus the top three quadrants. Both very, very good numbers for any team out there.
Oh yeah, that's outstanding.
Yeah, uh, it's one of the things that came up towards the end of last season. My Rutgers Scarlet Knights did not make the NCAA tournament, and one of the things is they had a losing record versus tier one through three. That entire
Mhm.
package there, they were one game under 500. I think that was one of the main reasons they did not make it. So if
It
you
could
are
have. I think it was the reason. Yeah,
if you are doing bracketology and you see teams with losing records versus tier one and two or versus tier one through three, you want to seriously think, does this team really belong in the field or not?
yeah.
Uh, these are two very
And
important numbers for bracketology, in fact.
okay, and real quick, Chad. And again, to those that are kind of watching this, maybe we should have started this with
Yeah.
this. I see tier one, two, tier two, tier three, tier four. What is that? There is a little bit of an explanation there,
Okay.
but
Yep. Okay. Well, let's go on down. So I'll kind of skip down a little bit ahead here because you brought this up here. But you
yeah,
see here later on, these are the wins and losses that teams have
yeah.
in the red and the blue and the red column. The left column is blue. The center is in red. The left column is your wins. The center column is your losses. Uh, and if you look here, wins, then it says tier one, and then there's the next section is tier two, tier three, and tier four. Tier one, you then see numbers here 1-30, 1-50, 1-75. What does that mean? Uh, any game that you play against a team whose net is rated in the top 30 and you play them at home, or 1 through 50 and you play them on a neutral court, or 1 through 75 and you play them on the road, is
Yeah.
considered a tier 1 opponent.
So
Tier
those would be good wins. Like if those are those are games that are typically harder to win, right? The tier one.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and your losses also are games that are harder to win and not a big surprise if you lose them on the loss
Yeah.
column. Tier 2, very similar, but it is 31 to 75 at home, 51 to 100 net, neutral 76 to 135 road. And you can see the numbers here continue on for tier 3. And tier 4 is everything above those
And
numbers. And you should
those
never
are
lose a
very
tier.
easy games to win. If you're an
Those are the games you
NCAA
should
team,
win.
yeah.
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 Those are the games you should win and you should not be losing, although we see teams lose those games on occasion.
Yeah.
For our purposes, for these team sheets, I'll jump over to St. Mary's again. Any non D1 team, we do throw in the bottom of the tier 4. It's not really considered a tier 4. It's considered its own little entity, but that's
Yeah.
where we put them here.
Hmm.
But so that's what the tiers are. We'll get back to the little bit on those wins and losses in a second here, but let's go to this next section, which says HRNBS. Uh,
Yeah.
sounds confusing. It's not.
It's not. I believe that's home, road, neutral, board. That is a little confusing though.
Okay,
Home is obviously you're the home team. Road, you're the visiting team. Neutral, it's a neutral site. Board. What is the board, Chad?
the board is this is the one thing that's has a little bit of leeway in it. Versus board is what your record is against teams that we are currently considering to be on the board. And what we mean by teams we currently consider to be on the board, that is teams that we here at Hoops HD consider will either win an automatic bid through its conference, will get an at-large bid, or at least currently, as of the day you're looking at this, is on or near the bubble to get an at-large bid, which means probably the top 15 to 20 teams out as well.
Yeah.
I said there's a
So
little bit of leeway there because, quite frankly, the way it works is I'm the one who's personally decides what team is on the board or
yeah,
not. So it is my personal decision, but I try to be very lenient and let most teams that have any possible argument for an at-large bid be considered a board team.
yeah,
And it does also include, like I said, automatic bid winners. So if while we're not currently predicting SIU Edwardsville to be the auto bid winner out of the Ohio Valley, if we were, that would count as a board win for Dayton because they beat SIU Edwardsville.
yeah. And one of the things is that so we do these bracket shows every week. Really, we start doing brackets first week of the season. That would indicate if you're in that bracket, you're on the board, or if you're listed as a team that's being considered, you're likely on the board.
And streak obviously is your current winning streak
Yeah.
or your current losing streak. Dayton has won 2 in a row right now.
Yeah.
Next, we get into the hard numbers of metrics. Net RPI SOS comes first. The net is the main NCAA metric. It's updated every day. We pull it right from the NCAA. So every
Yeah.
morning when you look at it, you will see that team's current net rating. The
Yeah, and that is the
RPI,
NCAA and what's the something tool.
yeah, it's a tool. It's the net. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
It's the net. Yeah.
RPI was the old NCAA metric, which is now about 10 years defunct. But our friend Warren Nolan over at warrennolan.com does still calculate the RPI using its old formula. And while it's not on the official NCAA team sheets, we're one of the few places that still shows it other than Warren. Uh,
Yeah.
we do still show this number. Just it's kind of interesting sometimes, just as a little student of history almost thing there. But
Right. Yeah.
really, you should not be basing your bracketology on that RPI number. Please don't. You
Yeah.
won't. If you're submitting your bracket to something like Bracket Matrix for scoring and you base it on RPIs, you're going to be down on the bottom of the list. I'll promise you. Uh, SOS. What's an SOS, Griggs?
That is strength of schedule, and the way it's calculated, it is the average winning percentage of. It's your winning percent, the winning percentage of your opponents averaged out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
How strong your opponents are. So
right.
a team with an 84 strength of schedule has its top 100 out of 362 teams. It's good. It's not incredible, but it's good.
Yeah.
NC strength of schedule is your non-conference strength of schedule. Those are the games you actually have control over scheduling.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's a big one because your strength of schedule could be weighed down like Dane's is by their conference. It went from 36 non-conference to 84 overall. But
Yeah.
did you go out and really schedule in the games you controlled good, or are you the 300s like a team like some of these Big 12 teams
Right.
we see this season, and That's not good that you schedule garbage competition.
Right. And Dayton is going to get a lot of credit for the way that they scheduled. They scheduled Houston, Northwestern, Cincinnati's coming on strong, St. John's with a good record. They played some really good teams, and even some of their uh because it is calculated the way it is a little bit misleading. You mentioned SIUE. Well, SIUE has a pretty good record. So that's
Yeah,
actually kind of bumping up the strength of the schedule a little bit.
a little bit here.
Yeah.
Okay. The next column is resume metrics. Uh, resume metrics are the three main metrics out there that actually look at how a team has performed on the court, wins and losses, to
Right.
determine where you rank in the country.
Results based. Yeah.
Results based.
Yeah.
KPI is Kevin Pagua, his KPIsports.net website. This number is on the official NCAA team sheets. Dayton right now is 10th in the nation there, as you can see.
Yeah. Excellent.
SOR is ESPN.com's strength of record or strength of resume metric, also on the official NCAA team sheets.
Hmm.
Well, not on the official team sheets, but we think it should be, is our Joey Fortune's JNG
Yeah.
rating. They are right up there on a tab on a website. That is
Yeah.
the most current rating for Dayton on the JNG ratings. It is the number one computer-based rating metric out
Eh,
there in the world for predicting what the committee will do.
Yeah. And that's why we want it on the committee sheets. We want the committee to look at that ranking and see what it's predicting that they will do.
The last
A
number is an
little
average.
circular ongoing logic.
Last time was an average. Very simply, I took those three numbers, added them up, and divided by three. That's what your average resume metric is. For Dayton, their average is about 11th in the nation.
And man, that's really good. Yeah.
The predictive metrics are the metrics that take a look at how they think you're going to perform based on how good you are offensively, about how good you are defensively, and how they're not really looking at your results. They're looking at how well you play. If you put
Right.
it that
Yeah.
way. Uh,
Yeah.
the three main ones here that we currently list are the BPI, which is from ESPN.com as well and is on the official NCAA team sheet. I'll skip to the third one is the KenPom ratings. That is probably the most well known of them all, also on
Yeah.
the official NCAA team sheet. The middle one is the Torvik rankings or the T rankings from Bart Torvik's website, not on the team sheet, but when Sagarin, who had been here on our sheets up to this season, decided that he's no longer doing basketball starting this year, we wanted to fill in that blank, and this is probably the most popular predictive metric after the BPI and the KenPom out there for
Yeah.
most bracketologists. That's why we put the T ranks in there.
Hmm.
And of course, once again, an average of those three, add them up, divide by three. Did I get
Right.
that right?
You did. And then it breaks down the Ken Palm a little bit more. This is
Yes.
more, none of this is, I don't think adjusted
This
offense and defense.
these numbers are not on the official NCAA team sheet, but it's
Yeah,
numbers that we like to track here. These are all
right.
coming from Ken Palm's website, telling us ADJO is the
Yeah,
adjusted offense. That is how good are you of a team offensively? Not how many points you score, but how good are you at scoring points
right.
per possession?
So offensive and defensive efficiency is just that. It's points per 100 possessions. Simple as that. The adjusted offensive and oh, go ahead,
Yeah,
Chad.
I was going to say this is not the raw number of how many points there's.
Right. This is not the raw number.
Data's
Yeah.
not scoring 16 points per 100 possessions. They would
No,
be
that's a
dead.
ranking.
They'd be
Yeah.
winless right now. That's how they
Right.
rank. They rank 16th out of all teams in that number.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's a ranking. Thank you for clarifying. Adjusted offensive efficiency takes into account how good or bad the defensive team that you're playing against is. If you like baseball, it would sort of be the equivalent of adjusting a batting average to account for how good or bad a pitcher is. So to have an adjusted offense of 16th, that is a ranking. That is the 16th best offense in the country. That is outstanding.
Yep. Below that, the tempo. Tempo is quite simply how fast you play. A number like 349 means you play a slow, boring game. Not boring, it's
Yeah.
not boring, but you play a slow game. If you have a higher number, let me pull St. Mary's back up here. They're also slow, 358.
350.
So
They're even
we don't have
slower.
we don't have a
Who's
good number here.
fast? Who's really fast? Who plays fast?
But you know, if we went with a faster team, you'd see number one and number two. Finally, the luck metric. We've discussed this sometimes in our podcast.
Yes, I love
It sounds kind of funny. Oh, how lucky is a team? How can you measure that? But what Ken Palm is really doing with his luck metric is basically saying how are your actual results, basically your resume type results, doing compared to your predictive results. So if
Yeah.
you are outperforming in wins and losses, what the predictive metrics say you should be performing, you are considered a very lucky team and have a good luck metric. If you
Yeah,
are underperforming, you have a bad luck metric. I also, quite frankly, Griggs, I think there's an element of coaching in the luck metric. So I think a team with a lousy luck may need to look at a coaching change, and a team with
yeah,
great luck should be probably giving their coach a raise.
hmm
Because
for
that
sure.
means that he's finding ways, you're finding ways to win those close, tight games, what you really do with a good luck.
Yeah,
The OAR finally in this yellow thing button, but here that is what we call the overall average ranking.
yeah,
What I did there was very simply I took seven numbers, the net, the three main resume metrics, the three main predictive metrics, add all seven of those numbers up, divided by seven, came up with an average. In Dayton's case, it was the number in parentheses there, 23.0.
yeah.
Then I
The torque
ranked
kind of
those
driving it down. Yeah.
then I took those all 362 teams, ranked them against each other, 1 through 362. Dayton comes in at 19th place if you average all the metrics out together.
hmm
It's kind of an interesting number here that I know we've
Yeah.
discussed a lot of our shows. So
Yeah, I know
getting
it's
a little
always
play there.
there, but yeah, we've never really. It's not
So,
always where your eyes immediately go, but that is an interesting number.
yep. A few more things, two other things up top. Your current status says bubble. Uh, these numbers are drawn directly from, if you look up there, our HoopsHD NCAA Tournament Survival Board. If you are not yet locked into the NCAA tournament, you still have a shot at missing out. You'll be listed as a bubble. If you have no shot at making it, you'll be listed as auto bid only or eliminated even later on in the season. And if you've clinched a spot, you'll be listed as a lock there. So
Hmm
uh, goes pulls right from that survival board. And finally, the
Right.
head coach, Anthony Grant, and his career. That's his career, not his record at Dayton, but his career record that we show there.
Yeah, and doing a good job at Dayton, a good team this year.
Yeah. Then we get to we discuss them a little bit here. These three main columns here. The blue is your wins,
Yeah.
separated by tier. The red is your losses, separated by tier. At the very top of each column, average net win and average net loss. That's the average net of the teams that you've beaten and the average net of the teams that you've lost to. Uh,
hmm
that's a number that's on the official NCAA team sheet. I've never really looked at it. I don't know that many bracketologists do, but it's on the team sheets, so we
Yep.
give it to you.
So
Um,
and
the
so
NCAA's team sheets, yeah.
yeah, so this is a team that right now is looking pretty good. They got a lot of wins, just three losses. And then like let's compare them to someone. Who
Well,
can we compare
let
them
me
to?
go back to the St. Mary's comparison. I've got them loaded
Yeah.
up here. As you see here also, they've got a little bit more in the losses, but some good wins. Now,
The tier three losses, home losses.
let me throw one other thing out here. In the tier one and in the tier two, you see occasionally teams that are in italics and a little line separating them out. You don't see that in tier three or four, but you do see it in tier one and two at some locations here. What that is the NCAA actually has split tier one and tier two into a 1A, 1B, and a 2A, 2B. Basically, if your win is over the top half of tier one, which means 1 to 15 at home, 1 to 25 neutral court, and 1 to 37 or whatever the math would be
37 on the road. Yeah.
on the road, you are considered tier 1A and you will be in italics and above that line. Otherwise, 1B below that line. Same thing in tier two, the top half of it, but it
Yeah.
talks above the line. If you're regular print, you're below the line. And one other quick note, when you're looking at these wins and losses, if you just see a team name listed, that is a home win.
hmm
If you see the little at sign before it, that is a,
Road win.
and
And if
if you
it's
see the,
versus,
if you see
that's a neutral
verses
float.
before it, that's a
Yeah.
neutral. So that's your quick way of knowing home, road, neutral. You can see the
hmm
final score. You see this game here, UNLV was 69-67, double overtime. All that information is there.
Yeah. St. Mary's excellent on the road this
Absolutely. If you look up
year.
here, they're actually undefeated 6-0 in road games.
Yeah.
Not so good in neutral
Yeah.
court games where they're
Yeah.
1-3.
No, yeah. And at home they've struggled, but
Uh,
yeah.
the final column, the green column here, remaining schedule. That is literally your remaining schedule in order of
Yeah.
games. We've got the net of your opponents, whether it's home or road, and who it is. Does not include conference tournaments at this point. As those conference tournaments do get announced, those games will populate on in, though.
Yeah.
One other thing, far right column here, you see a list of team names, and they're in alphabetical order, every single team in the nation going all the way down.
Yeah.
That is a quick link. So if you decide that you're looking at St. Mary's and you really want to take a look, no, I really want to take a look at Bucknell.
Yeah.
You can just simply click
And I
Bucknell.
was just thinking, I want to look at Bucknell.
Click
I've
Bucknell.
been driving
Give
me crazy all day. I wanted to see Bucknell.
And
And
here's
oh
Bucknell's
wow, oh
profile.
yeah, not quite as good as Dayton's.
Not quite as good at all. There also is a scroll down a little bit. Here's a glossary of some of those terms we just went over here, but that is most of it. What did we miss anything, Griggs?
I don't think so. I think we covered it pretty good. And then they're, 1-9 against tier one versus three. So if you were to do an extensive examination of Bucknell and Dayton, chances are the committee would select Dayton over them.
You, unlike our shows, we cannot have two teams. It just wasn't possible for us to get two team sheets on the screen at the same time. But feel free to open up multiple tabs. You can click
Yeah,
back and
multiple.
forth like we're
Yeah.
doing right now. You could even shrink your windows down to a smaller size and put them side by side. But I'm sorry we can't do that for you. Maybe some point in the future we'll find out a way to do that. But
Yeah.
one last thing, I teased it at the beginning. What if you do get annoyed by the slow load times? Because that I don't have a way to avoid that at the moment. Here's a little
I
trick.
okay.
You're going
This
to
is
scroll down all the way down past all these teams' names to the
I don't know
very,
this
very,
trick.
very,
Yeah.
very bottom of the page where you see the word Hoops HD. You see this
Uh-huh.
little line here with the little Microsoft Excel sign here.
Y-
Go all the way over to the right. There's a little box. There's three boxes here. One says, "Tell Microsoft your thoughts about this team sheet." Feel free to tell them. I don't care. I don't know what that's
Yeah.
about. Don't click that one. The second one says information about this workbook. That'll bring up a bunch of coded information that won't help you at all. Third one says view full size workbook. Go ahead and click that button. Feel free to click it. It will open up a new page for you, uh, which will initially take a second or two to load here. But this will open up a website for you with the sheet that with not only the team that you are actually with the entire workbook here. And what you will now see is every single team here. You can
Wow.
click any team you like and go straight to it. Arizona, Arizona State, Arkansas. Click this little button here in the bottom left-hand corner. You get a little scroll menu. You can go and choose Jacksonville. There's Jacksonville. Real good shortcut here for you. Throw one other piece up here. You may not be able to see it because it might be behind our heads, but in the top right corner, there is a button that says Edit a Copy. You can click that. You have to have a Microsoft OneDrive account. If you have signed up for a free Microsoft OneDrive account, it will download this into your OneDrive account. You can then download it onto your computer, open it in Excel, look at it, view it, play with it however you like. Only caveat being, if you do download it to your own computer and play
It
around with it,
won't be updated.
it will not update. You have to go back and re-download it again from the website the next day when games go final.
Mhm.
But play around with this. It may be a little more helpful if you're trying to compare team sheets rather than that slower load time that we have. There's your little
Yeah.
secret tip I told you I'd throw out there.
That's
Uh,
amazing. I did
so
not know that.
Griggs, I thought that was the part that you built.
Well, maybe it was, but I was really drunk. I don't. Yeah. I mean, we
uh,
worked on this together. Like I said, I can't remember who did what.
Once again, as I said, if there's anything out there that you'd love to see in a team sheet, let us know. I'll be happy to add it in. I'm always looking for fun stuff. We have a few more things that might be coming in here, if not this season, next season. So we're real excited about this. This was
Yeah,
a
we
big
really
upgrade
are.
for our website off of what we've been doing in the past, I think.
Yeah, we I don't know why. Like we've always had these in the workbooks that we've used, and we've never made it available on the website. And we were just like, why haven't we done that? So we did it.
Well, part of it was we didn't know how to do it, but a little
Right, we didn't
research and
know
we
how.
figured this out. And so have
But
fun
no,
with it,
that's
everybody.
fantastic. Yeah.
Any problems, any complaints, let me know. If you see an error out there, let me know right away, please. I haven't found any yet, and I use these team sheets all the time. But that's about it. So, on behalf of David Griggs, I'm Chad Sherwood. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the team sheets. Talk to you real soon.